E-commerce beginners, Alex Conley here today again with another video for you guys. Today's video, I want to talk about a process that can be useful for getting creative. So that idea is a value add business, right? So when we have a value add in my mind, we do something in the process to improve the value of the product for the customer. In this case, one of the things that I was just thinking about came across my mind is, what are some things that you could do where you add value? An example of this is this right here. I'll show you guys. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. So one of the things that I'm thinking about doing is ordering seeds online and then planting them and then selling the seedlings locally, right? So with tomato seeds, we can get them for pretty cheap on eBay or on Amazon. Different bulk retailers I'm sure exist online. We can get those seeds and then process them by getting these large seedling trays, planting an individual tomato seed in each tray, and then growing them, having bigger pots and soil to grow them a bit more into, I guess, the youth stage of the tomato plant. And then we could present them for resale online. If it costs you, say, 5 to 10 cents a tomato seed, I'm not sure how accurate that is, but let's just say 5 to 10 cents a tomato seed, you're able to just use some dirt and some water. You could sell each one, if they're healthy, they're quality genetics, for $2 a piece. I've seen online on Craigslist, some people for some varieties go as high as $3 and $5 a piece. Now, you don't want to go too high and have people responding to your ad with complaints, but this is a valuable idea that I think could be done by most people really in the springtime. And there are some other examples of this too that you may think about. Another example that comes to my mind, although this does require permitting and it's a little bit different than this because you'd be working with food, but somebody that runs a bakery, for example, now they would need to get an industrial kitchen. They would need to get licensing because when you're making food for resale, you do have to get the proper permitting. You have to follow the rules. You have to make sure that everything is clean, sanitary, made for human consumption, because people are putting the food in their bodies. So even though that gets a little bit more complex, that is a value add, and there are people that are making money with bakeries and coffee shops. There's even businesses where if you get the proper licensure, you could do if you got an industrial kitchen, you could do baked goods and coffee delivery. Depends, of course, on the size of the area you live in. If you're in a metropolitan area, if there's a decent sizable customer base. So these are the types of things that you could think about when it comes to what kind of value you can add to a product to make it better and make a profit, right? I absolutely recommend thinking of things like these, because when you can do on a certain product a lot of work, not necessarily a lot of work, but more work than it would take to do an individual one, but it takes less time than a bunch of individuals to do that process. In the case I'm thinking about is, it doesn't make sense for 100 people to go get 100 or one tomato seed each and each plant their own tomato seed, or 5 tomato seeds each and plant their 5 tomato seeds. It'd be easier for them to have somebody like you grow 200-300 tomato plants and say, hey, I got them all day, just make a appointment with me, we'll meet up, you can check the plants out, make sure they're up to standard, make sure they're healthy, make sure that they're the proper genetics, make sure they're going to be the tomatoes that you want to the quality that you expect for the price, and then you get paid. These types of things can be very straightforward, in my opinion. With the tomato example, there's less risk because the tomato plants are not a food itself. Somebody may grow them to produce tomatoes to eat, but that's a bit different. Like I said, make sure you're getting the proper permits, proper licensures. I don't want to encourage you to do something that's against the rules. We're all about following the rules here at E-commerce Beginners. That being said, I appreciate you taking the time to consider the viability of value adds in the e-commerce space. I want to do more videos on this subject. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I appreciate you joining us, and until next time.